I have been quite a busy beaver the past couple weeks. So I have a lot of things that I need to talk about in this upcoming video. There are a lot of you now, like a lot. I'm gonna be totally frank, I did not expect this project to go as far as it has already, but the channel is over 1,000 subscribers now. What the hell? First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody who's subscribed and is super interested in everything that I've done. But it's just crazy that there's that many of you already, and it just seems like the pace is just accelerating. So I'm doing my best to keep up. And with that being said, these past few days to a couple weeks, I've been working nonstop on this project, and I've made some tremendous progress that I want to share with you today. I'll try not to get into super specifics just yet because there's a lot to cover, and if I did that, this video would be 80 minutes long, and I'd rather not do all that. So if in any case that you guys want specific details about very specific things, let me know, and I'll make probably a separate video when like super minor tweaks or my processes on everything and all of that stuff. However, before we start, I just want to make one thing clear. I am not selling any part of this project. I will not be selling this as merchandise. I will not be selling this as a board game. This entire project is specifically for my own personal use, for my own personal benefit, just for my own fun. I'm doing it for the joy of creation, and I can't do anything else more about that because otherwise it would be very illegal because I would be infringing on IP and copyright laws. So to respect Playstack and Local Funk, this will not ever, 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 ever be sold. And you should not sell yours either. Now that that's out of the way, let's get to what I've been working on. First things first, let's talk about the entire cream of the crop of what I've been working on for the vast majority of the time. The playing cards, the sleeves, the seals, everything to do with the actual things that you use to play the game. I have spent the past 30-40 hours of these past couple weeks doing specifically only stuff with the playing cards. And it took a lot of work, but I think you'll be surprised to see the fruits of my labor. So this thing weighs about 20 pounds-ish. Every single individual deck box you see in here is some sort of either playing card or sleeve or some addition that you can add onto a playing card or a joker even to enhance your gameplay. Every single tiny box is a single playing card. Like I have an entire box for Ace of Hearts, 4 of Diamonds, 5 of Clubs, 6 of Spades. It just keeps going and going. I could literally play the game with the deck boxes if I wanted to, because there's that many. This is really heavy. I'm going to put this down. But it's just been constant. Like, I ordered massive amounts of printed paper from a printing company. I went ahead and sent all of my playing cards to a printing company so that I could get all of those processed. And they did a great job. They printed them very high quality on exactly the paper I wanted. It is just typical card stock, but it works for my specific case. That being said, there was an ungodly amount of them. There was like 380 something individual sheets that needed to be processed and cut. For those counting at home, that's like 600 something, maybe even 700 something front and back sheets of paper that needed to be printed. It was not cheap, but it was worth it though. So I've spent the past many streams cutting the cards, clipping their corners, sleeving them, just making sure that they're like ready to be played. And even though it took a while, I am very happy that I got all of that stuff out of the way. In total, it's over 2,800 playing cards that are in this box right now. And that's not even considering all the sleeves that I made, the seals, the additions, and enhancements. But speaking of those, we'll go ahead and get into those next. Many of you have been asking how additions are going to work and how those are going to change how playing cards are played or jokers. So fundamentally, their use case are going to be exactly the same. But how they look is going to be a little bit different than you're used to. To aid in this demonstration, I've asked for the aid of my buddy Jimbo to help with all of this. So as you can tell, I have jokers now. I have all of my jokers. I'll get to those later, I promise. But I have them all. They're nice, like plasticine coated cards. They're different than the cards that I printed myself. They're much sturdier, much neater. I'm very happy with the quality of these. But we've all seen jokers before. We've all seen Jimbo before. Let's go ahead and give him a sleeve. Now, the first thing you might notice immediately is that all of the editions that you're about to see have a little sticker on the bottom left of the card. I did this because in terms of how it looks on camera, sometimes it can be very hard to see exactly if a card has like a special edition or not, because it's not moving around, it's just sitting flat on a table. So what I've decided to do is on top of having a sleeve, like a special design sleeve for the edition, we also have a sticker on the bottom left to signify exactly which edition it is. For this demonstration, I'm going to turn down the exposure. The first one you're seeing is foil. You can tell that it's a bit glittery, it's a bit shimmery, but there's nothing too special about it. In fact, it's probably one of the more boring ones of the pack, but you know, that's kind of just how foil is anyway. Next we have the holographic, and I gotta say this one looks pretty damn cool. It shines really well in the camera. Even if it's sat down flat, it looks really nice, it looks really cool, but I think I have something that beats it out. And that, of course, is polychrome. The polychrome one actually looks really good in person. On camera, it's kind of hard to pick up, I will admit. But from greater distances, it shines really well. The rainbow looks really nice. I made a few attempts at polychrome in a few of the other editions before, and it didn't work out so well. But these sleeves that I got are really, really good. And of course, we have one more sleeve. And of course, that last sleeve is negative. Unfortunately, the way that Balatro does negative sleeves is that it actually inverts the color data directly of the pixel that it's affecting. It's a shader that's used on top of the card. That kind of thing is impossible to do in real life. I've tried a couple different things to see how it would look on top of a Joker, and it just makes it look really muddy and gross. So in this specific case, only the sticker is used. I've had ideas of potentially having the Joker flipped upside down to signify that it is a negative, but that can kind of be hard to see sometimes, especially with Jokers without a lot of detail or Jokers that look the same flipped over. However, this is all we got, unless you guys have potentially a better idea, which I'm open to all ideas because I want something that looks a little bit better than this, but I can't think of anything that fits the negativeness of Jokers. I don't want to print individual Jokers with a negative edition because I have to make a whole bunch of copies anyway, but again, I'll get to that later. Let's talk about seals. So yes, I finally have seals ready for all of the cards. I have individual seals ready to go for all of the different types, the red, gold, blue, and purple. These were actually super easy to make. It's kind of the exact same principle as I did the enhancements. If you remember how I did it in my last video, I had printed on transparencies and then slipped those inside of the card. Well, this works the exact same way, in which it is a sticker placed on top of a transparency. This transparency will be put over every other type of effect that's on the card except for the edition. But this will be put on top because it's opaque and easy to see. So I have these in all the colors, red, gold, purple, and blue. So these will be ready for play as well. So before we would get into the meat of the matter and what I know everybody wants to hear, why don't we talk about something that maybe you guys want to consume a little bit? That's right, I have every single consumable printed and ready to go. Multiple copies, in fact. There really is nothing too special about these except for the fact that they now have a custom backside to describe what they are, and that they are easy to identify within the deck whenever you are in the shop and ready to pull from them. I have multiple copies of every consumable ready to go. We have tarot cards, celestial, and spectral cards. There are several copies because of a specific reason. However, a couple of these cards are particularly special. If you guys have watched my demonstration video whenever I was doing a quick little playtest, you might have seen these, and you might have seen me try and roll for these. I didn't really explain what they were, however, you might be able to guess what they are. Those two cards are meant to be visible and stay out of any sort of deck the entire game. The reason for that is because anytime you open a booster pack, when conditions are met, if you roll the dice and you happen to land on the exact specific roll that you're supposed to, those cards come into play and replace the card that was meant for. Meaning, if you open an Arcana pack and you happen to roll a 333, which is just one of the examples, but if you happen to roll that 333, that soul card will come into play, and suddenly you have a soul card ready to use at your disposal. All of the consumables will work exactly as expected. I feel like I don't really need to go too far in depth about them. It's just that they are now printed and ready to go with their own custom backs. Now, you might have heard me mention the shop a little bit. Some of you might be wondering exactly how we're going to get the shop to work. That's a really valid question because we were talking about that for a good long while before we actually finally decided on a system that works for us. I would like to bring your attention to the shop queue. The shop queue is a somewhat new system. We rebuilt the way that the shop works inside of Balatro to work in a physical sense. We wanted to keep the weights and rarities of cards as accurate as possible. So what we've done is we've sorted everything into a few of their own separate decks. And let me show you some examples. As you flip through the shop queue, you can see that sometimes it'll show up with Joker cards, Tarot cards, Planet cards. These are all placeholders. If you're a fan of Balatro, you obviously know that as you roll the shop, random items can come through the shop at different times. You can have Planet cards show up, you can have Tarot cards show up, of course you're going to have loads of Jokers show up, but it can be different depending on deck to deck. Also, if you have vouchers, that can change the style of the shop and how often things occur. The shop deck is designed to account for that. For the shop queue, whenever you come across a Tarot or a Planet card, you just replace that card with a Tarot or a Planet card. You can just pull one from the deck, make sure it's shuffled, and replace that card. It's as simple as that. For the Jokers, we have a little bit of an extra step, but it's not too complicated, I promise. As I was talking about before, fans of Balatro would obviously know that there's a lot of things that can happen to Jokers as you pull them. Sometimes Jokers can have additions. Sometimes you can pull an uncommon Joker versus a common Joker versus a rare. It depends on what happens. Everything's all randomized, and we wanted to keep on to that randomization. So imagine that you were pulling the shop queue and you pull a Joker card. You're gonna need to know, does it have an addition? What rarity is it? Which deck am I gonna have to pull from? For the first bit of that question, let's go to the Joker deck of fortune. This one is simple. You draw a card, most often or not, it's a nope. But sometimes you get a success. If you get a success, you're more than welcome to draw a card from another deck called the Joker Edition deck that has a properly weighted set of additions waiting for you in that deck, which includes negatives, polychromes, holochromes, and foils all together. But that's only if you draw a success, which is extremely slim. After fate decides whether or not the Joker has an addition, then you will pull the specific rarity card. There are several different rarities. There's rare, uncommon, and common Jokers that you can pull from. And there's different weights based on how often those cards are pulled. Those weights are reflected in this deck. It is a 40 card deck with evenly distributed weights according to the wiki on how often they show up. So obviously commons are going to be the most common card in there. Uncommons are like somewhat often-ish, and then rares are obviously very rare. I think there's 2 rare cards in there. So the chances of actually pulling one are very slim, just like the actual shop in Balatro. It's an odd system, but I think we've got it to work for the most part. But there's a couple crucial things missing from the shop. Not to worry, I have those too. What you're seeing in front of you is a deck of specially crafted booster packs. All in all, these are just cards, but these take the place of booster packs, and these are also closely weighted to the exact same as the wiki. I say closely because their weights are very complicated and very imprecise in terms of whole numbers. There's a lot of decimals happening, so I kind of just had to round to what fit the best. However, the weights should be almost the same as they are in the shop. Every booster pack has its own specific type. Each type has its own specific rarity, and they have a custom backside to hide what may be under there. I designed this myself, and I'm quite proud of it. But there's still one other thing that we're forgetting. The vouchers. All right, calm your asses down. I've got them right here. These are tiny little ticket-shaped vouchers that I made specifically for the shop. Now, they're a lot smaller than you might consider, considering the size of everything else and how you might interpret them in the game. However, I feel like this size is fitting because it looks like a little ticket. Now, I'm gonna be honest, these are temporary placeholders for right now. They are just made of cardstock. I'm getting these 3D printed. I have custom stickers ready for their tops and bottoms, but for right now, these are all I have. It might be a while before I can actually get those 3D prints received. There's a lot that needs to be 3D printed, not just that, but also money tokens, specific trackers for certain things, which I'll get to in a later video. Just a lot of things that need to be kept nice and tidy and also look professional. So I'm getting a lot of prints ready for that right now, so don't worry yourselves too much about it. I feel like we're still missing a really crucial part of how this game is supposed to work.
The bosses.
I created really thick token things. I'm not sure what to call these, but I made the boss blinds. All of them. Like, all of them. I just have a whole fucking pile of them. Here's a picture of them. They're just... I just made a fucking mess on this desk. Everything's such a mess. It was so clean too before I started this video. What's wrong with me? I don't really have anything special to say about the bosses in particular. Some of them have changed logic. I can't really get into that right now because everything's still not finalized. We're still kind of playtesting some things, but some of them have a little bit of tweaked logic, but most of them are the exact same as you'd expect. All right, finally, here's part of the video that I know everybody wants to hear about. I have to pull my phone out for this because it's some complicated stuff that I need to talk about. Joker! And Joker logic and what's changing. Hey, I just wanted to say I am very aware that the camera is dropping. It does fall later, but I didn't realize it until it already happened, so sorry. So yes, we have gone through all of the individual Joker logic, and we've sorted through and talked about ones that probably wouldn't work the best in a realistic sense and see if we can tweak them in a way that we can keep their original power, but translate them into a tabletop setting. And I have a list pulled up so I can talk about them just directly to you. You may notice a theme with some of these Jokers that needed to be altered a little bit. 8 ball, 1 in 4 chance for each played 8 to create a tarot card when scored, must have room. The new logic. For each scored 8 in your played hand, roll a d4. On a 4, create a tarot card, must have room. Misprint, plus 0 to 23 molt. Roll a d20, plus d20 molt. Allows you to view the top card of your deck at any time. I am going through all of these, so sit tight. Gros Michel. Gross Michael? Plus 15 molt. 1 in 6 chance this is destroyed at the end of round. Plus 15 molt. Roll a d6 at the end of the round. On a 1, this card is destroyed. If this card is destroyed, pull the Cavendish from the back of the sleeve and put it in front and put it back in the shop. I think that one's cool. To-do list. Earn $4 if poker hand is a specific poker hand. Poker hand changes at the end of the round. At the start of a round, shuffle the planet deck. The hand representing that card is now what triggers the to-do list. Earn $4 anytime that hand is played. That one is a weird one, but I think it works because all of the hands that you have, including 5 of a kind, flush 5, and flush house, can be included in there at any point whenever they're applicable. Cavendish. I'm allergic to bananas, apparently. Cavendish. X3 molt. 1 in 1,000 chance this card is destroyed at the end of the round. X3 molt. Roll 3d10 at the end of the round. On a 000, this card is destroyed. That's not ever gonna fucking happen. Riff Raff. When blind is selected, create 2 common jokers. When blind is selected, pull 2 common jokers from the deck into your joker pool. Must have room. Mail-in rebate. Earn $5 for each discarded rank. Rank changes every round. At the end of each round, shuffle your deck and draw the top card. During the next round, earn $5 for each discarded card of that rank. Again, it's a bit of a weird one, but it relies on the deck of cards that you already have, meaning that how it's implemented in Balatro versus how it's implemented here works exactly the same way as you'd expect. Space Joker. 1 in 4 chance to upgrade the level of played poker hand. When hand is played, roll a d4. On a 4, upgrade the level of played poker hand. Hiker. Every played card permanently gains 5 chips when scored. This is an amendment. Use the special chip tokens to keep track of the amount of additional chips per card. Place them inside of the card sleeve. And thankfully, I had just worked on those today. So now, anytime that you play with the hiker and it activates a card, you will use these little chips to keep track of extra chips on top of that playing card. The way these work is that anytime the hiker is activated, you will drop one of these tokens in that specific card. If you have more tokens in that specific card and you want to combine it into, say, 25 or 100, if I can pull one out, you are more than welcome to do so. There are combined values to help save you on chips and time. Now, I know what you all are thinking. Is that practical to have hiker do the exact same thing? Absolutely fucking not. None of this is practical. I want to make that very clear. I am very well aware. This specific delivery of this game does not work very well compared to the computer game. I'm very well aware of that. However, again, I'm just doing this for my own enjoyment, so this is how I'm doing things. But anyway, the hiker stays the same for the most part. I think it's a kind of a neat addition for a Joker that's not very good. Castle. This Joker gains +3 chips per discard suit card. Suit changes every round. At end of round, roll a d4. This Joker gains +3 chips per discarded card of the suit defined by the d4. 1 diamonds, 2 hearts, 3 spades, 4 clubs. This will remain consistent, that specific list, throughout any time that it's mentioned. Certificate. When round begins, add a random playing card with a random seal to your hand. At the beginning of the round, shuffle the standard card shop deck and draw the top card. Also roll a d4. The card drawn will be added to your deck with a seal defined by the d4. 1 red, 2 blue, 3 purple, 4 gold. I hope that one makes sense. There's a special deck that's used in the shop that's for standard cards. You can just shuffle that up and pull the top one. Any random one of those will work. There's one in particular that I see in here that we're not going to get to yet until the very end. Stay tuned. The Idol. Each played rank of suit gives X2 molt when scored. Card changes every round. At the end of round, shuffle your deck and pull the top card. During the next round, that specific card gives X2 molt when scored. I'm not gonna lie, that's most likely the easiest change that we were able to do that makes it work the exact same way. I really like the change we made to the Idol. Ancient Joker. Each played card with suit gives X 1.5 molt when scored. Suit changes at end of round. At end of round, roll a d4. On the next round, gives X 1.5 molt for each card scored, with the suit defined by the d4. 1 diamonds, 2 hearts, 3 spades, 4 clubs. I just realized the camera fell a little bit. Oops! Perkeo. Creates a negative copy of 1 random consumable card in your possession at the end of the shop. At the end of the shop, roll a die in the amount greater than or equal to the amount of unique consumable cards in your consumables area. Roll the die to determine which card is copied. So if you have, like, say 3 unique sets of consumables in your consumable area, excuse me. You're in my ring light now, congratulations. Say you had 3 unique types of consumables in your consumable area. You would associate a number to a specific die, say a d4, because that's the lowest you have, as say, Emperor in slot 1, a Hermit in slot 2, and a Venus in slot 3. You roll the die and see which number you get, and that's the consumable that is copied. If you roll a 4, in that case, you could just re-roll until something lands. Finally, the one everyone keeps asking me about and the one everyone wants to know.
Showman.
Joker, Tarot, Planet, and Spectral cards may appear multiple times. Allows copies of Jokers and consumables in your Joker pool or consumable slots to appear in shop again. Now, I understand that's kind of a significant change, but it keeps the Showman almost exactly intact for what his purpose is for. Say you have a set of 5 Jokers, one of them being the blueprint, for example, and you want another blueprint. Well, say you get the Showman. Sell one of your Jokers, get the Showman, or if you're on black deck, just get the Showman, put it in your Joker pool, whatever have you. There's a Showman in there. Remember how I said there's multiple copies of each consumable? There's also going to be multiple copies of each Joker, some of them more than others. In the case that you get Showman at any point in your run, all of the Jokers and consumables that you have in your possession at that time immediately go back into their spots in the shop. I want to specify that it is only the copies that go back into the shop, not the cards that you currently have in your hand. I forgot to specify that. That was a glaring mistake. I apologize for that. This isn't a you may can't do this if you want to. You have to. In this particular way, whenever you're in the shop and you want to re-roll, there are chances that you can re-roll for the same tarot cards, same planet cards. It works for the booster packs too, and especially the Jokers. Maybe you re-roll enough times for that blueprint to show right back up again. That is exactly what the Showman is intended for. Now, I bet what you're all thinking now is, what happens whenever you sell the Joker, or he's destroyed, or something? He's just gone. What happens? He's dead. Well, in that particular case, for the consumables at least, feel free to go through the consumable deck and pick out all of the duplicates and set them aside. You don't need them. And they're very small decks, so that wouldn't be too difficult to sort through those. However, for the Jokers, I understand it's a bit cumbersome, so if you happen to come across duplicates, those are just disallowed to be bought. You can just set them aside and replace them with a Joker of the exact same rarity. Also, I know some of you guys were asking about Mr. Bones. They work exactly the same way. If you have Mr. Bones, it is your responsibility to calculate the score in case you need to actually activate Mr. Bones. But he works the exact same way. You just have to score at least a quarter of the blind requirement. That being said, that's almost everything done from what we've done so far. But I have another special surprise. Many of you on stream or in videos have asked what we're gonna do about specific decks, because I showed off how we're gonna do stakes, but I did not show off how we're gonna do decks. Obviously, you could have seen that everything that we've printed so far in terms of playing cards or jokers has been the red deck. We have a solution for that. This entire time, I forgot to bring the exposure back up from me bringing it down. But yes, we have rule cards now for every single deck. On the backside, it shows the art for every single deck that's inside of Balatro. On the front side, it explains the rules of how that deck works. So say you wanted to play Anaglyph deck. You don't want to play the red deck anymore. Well, just pick up the Anaglyph deck rule card, read it, and then play by those rules. Suddenly, you're playing the Anaglyph deck. Granted, the card backs of the playing cards that you have will not have the Anaglyph deck back. Me actually printing all of that, I would die. Okay, I wouldn't die, but I would definitely be indebted to like every loan company ever. I'm not gonna do that. Instead, this was our elegant solution on trying to figure out how to get other decks to be worked in play. And honestly, I think it's a great solution. So I didn't show off absolutely everything because there's a lot of details and stuff like that, but I hope you guys get the gist of everything that's been worked on so far. There's been a ton of work that's been put into this, not just by me, but people in my Discord server as well. For those that don't know, I have a Discord server that contains everything that, like all the news or conversations or anything that we have about this specific project. So if you'd like to join, please click on the description below and join the Discord so that you can get constant updates of this if you are so interested. But really quick, again, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been giving me so much support about this project. It's been a lot of work. Yes, it's been a lot of money. Yes. But it's been so worth it, especially with the community feedback that I've gotten on Reddit, the official Balatro Discord server, on YouTube. I've been getting a lot of reception on YouTube for some reason. I'm just not used to it at all. So I just wanted to say a sincere thank you to everybody who's been giving me a ton of support about this project, who's interested in seeing more about this project. And trust me when I say I don't have any plans to stop anytime soon until it is finished, in which case we'll just play. I just want to play this. That's kind of what I'm working so hard for. I just want to play the damn thing already. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure that you stay tuned in with the channel because I am streaming quite often whenever I can, and it's usually working on this project. So if you're interested and you want to see more, if you want to just hang out and talk while I'm working, or if you want to suggest ideas, come check out one of the streams and come hang out with us cool kids. Or nerds, however you want to describe it. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. See ya.